I presume you're here in order to learn of Magecraft. I'll have you know, there's no room for the weak-willed in this course, and despite your best efforts, the sorcery of our time is but a fraction of what it once was in the Age of Gods. Much of the craft is established through pedigree, and the culture of mages is riddled with deception and moral depravity. That said, if you insist, I shall do my best to educate you in this miserable, yet fascinating world.
In our previous lesson, I covered the Demon Hunter organization and the interesting psychic abilities they once employed. So far, we've covered many creatures, from the ultimate ones, phantasmal species, dead apostles, and true ancestors. But there are still further depths to which we can explore our universe and beyond. Generically, I'm referring to aliens, beings that fall outside of humanity and our immediate solar system. Sometimes, even more than knowledge itself, it is more valuable to know what we don't know. Thus, for today's lesson, I aim to discuss the very limits of our comprehension, as mages do in fact find themselves on the front lines of discovery. Ultimate ones, the living embodiments of celestial bodies in our solar system, most certainly count as alien. Given they have a lesson all to their own, however, I will forego them in lieu of discussing even more distant beings. Starting off, it's worth noting how the concept of aliens pertains to mystery. The very notion of life beyond Earth is ever present in our historical mythology. With or without any verifiable proof, the supernatural concept of alien creatures influences our culture and beliefs, which in turn offer new avenues for spellcasting. For example, Elena Blavatsky was a prominent figure among mages for her writings on occultism. She studied the lost Lemurian continent, thought to be the ancestral home of humans. In order to free herself from the Association's watchful eye, she faked her own death, going on to further her research in secret. Part of this study led her to the Earth creation myth of Sanat Kumara, a deity who came to our planet from Venus. As a servant, Elena recreates Sanat Kumara's power, invoking the image of a flying saucer. She claims to have acquired this ability when, in the Nevada desert, her consciousness was taken to Alpha Centauri and shown visions of the cosmos. Specifically, the iconic aliens popularized at Area 51 play a major role not in just myth, but also in reality. We'll come back to that later. The Mesoamerican god Quetzalcoatl was originally worshipped as the Mayan god Kukulkan, who is described as an alien being made from bacteria and microorganisms carried to Earth on a meteorite that crashed down in the Yucatan Peninsula. Mind you, a legend like this doesn't have to be factually true to empower divine spirits, so long as their worshippers believed it during the Age of Gods, when mystery was at its peak. In fact, it's quite common for gods to be affiliated with planets, especially Venus, regardless of whether they actually hailed from there. Beyond legend and superstition, however, we mages have certainly encountered real-life aliens of various kinds. In some parallel worlds, humanity is greatly influenced by the moon cell, a powerful supercomputer on our very own moon. It consists of photonic crystals made 4.6 billion years before the age of man. The moon cell itself is thought to have been created by an unknown civilization that predates both the Earth and moon by 100 million years. Ever since, it has observed the Earth, recording every development much like the Akashic records of the Root. While we don't know much about the aliens that created it, we do know that the moon cell makes strides to learn about humanity, inviting humans to communicate with it remotely. Ancient mages used to meditate as a form of connecting with it, and in the modern era, wizards inhabit its virtual environment Seraph via Spiritron hacking. Of course, it is possible to visit the moon cell directly, but ever since its official discovery in 1973, the Harvey conglomerate has banned all shuttles to the moon in order to claim its power for themselves. While we often rely on the Earth's own will, the counterforce, to protect us, we have the moon cell to thank for keeping us hidden from yet another alien creation, Welber, the umbral star. The very same alien race that created the moon cell also created Welber as another observational device that, rather than observing the development of life, instead observes the destruction of civilization. It travels the universe in search of planets that have been marked for their developed societies. It then dispatches shards, or arcs of the stars, to those planets, and they each contain unique void cells that bring about destruction through various means. Clearly, these aliens were interested in both the alpha and omega of intelligent civilization. Perhaps due to oversight, these two interests conflict with one another, making the Moon Cell and Umbral Star enemies. In the year 12,000 BC, Welber came to Earth and marked humanity for extinction. It sent down 3 separate arcs, known as the older brother, Sephar, and the younger sister. Of these 3, only Sephar showed any activity, leaving the other 2 a mystery to this day. Sephar's shard crashed into the Moon Cell, managing to delete 80% of its data before being quarantined. Onto the Earth, Sephar projected itself as a gigantic white titan that nearly wiped out humanity. The gods, and even servants summoned by the counterforce, all tried to stop the titan, but many perished in the process. Ultimately, the White Titan was felled by the light of Excalibur, leaving Sephar's main body trapped in isolation within its arc, where it would wait until Welber could cycle back and revisit the Earth once more. Ever since, the Moon Cell has jammed Welber's sensors, ensuring that a second encounter never occurs. Sephar was originally one of Welber's prior victims. Her civilization of giants was destroyed 14,000 years ago, and her data as royalty of these giants was used in the creation of a void cell. Luckily, she was not fated to remain Welber's pawn forever. Instead, while trapped within the Moon Cell, she had the chance of experiencing a second life within the remains of the White Titan killed on Earth, which was reborn as Attila the Hun. After an entire lifetime dreaming through Attila's eyes, Sephar developed her own ego and eventually decided to oppose her creator. Even without the Moon Cell, Earth is a target for Welber on all other timelines as well, influencing the course of history in a variety of ways. Those most affected by Sephar's appearance are the gods of Greek mythology, who differ from typical divine spirits in that their true forms are actually machines. In a universe adjacent to our own, a completely different alien race was on the verge of extinction. In an attempt to seek a new home for themselves, they created a flagship called Chaos using the core of a star as a Dyson sphere. They tasked it with searching their dying universe for a sustainable planet. Tragically, despite Chaos's completion, its founders died out before such a home could be found. Regardless, Chaos scoured the universe and was unable to complete its objective. Continuing onward, it sought to explore our universe, and to slip through the barrier between its universe and ours, it used up 97% of its functionality to dispatch a smaller fleet that would continue the journey in its stead. As you might expect, this new fleet of machines found Earth to be a suitable planet for their creators. However, since their creators had already gone extinct, the machines decided to settle on Earth, looking after the humans that worshipped them as gods. Through a contract with the planet, these machines became legitimate divine spirits, communicating with their subjects through humanoid terminals. When Sephar attacked Earth, these machine gods fought against her, only to die in the process. Their machine bodies were destroyed, leaving only their humanoid forms behind. One exception is the Atlantic Lost Belt, in which Zeus appropriated the other god's strength to vanquish the White Titan without casualties. In a different Lost Belt, humanity lacks Excalibur altogether, allowing Sephar to ravage the Earth unopposed, once again greatly impacting human history. Then we have an alien often called the Alien God, otherwise known as the Foreign God. In truth, this being is not actually a god at all, but given its tremendous strength, people deify it in absolute awe regardless. Referring back to Area 51, I feel it's safe to say that the round-headed Martians associated with the complex are mostly a work of the imagination. That said, there certainly was a type of alien creature that crash-landed on Earth and was taken to Area 51. Researchers discovered this being in a near-death state and labeled it Specimen E. Within the Area 51 facility, scientists performed cruel experiments on the tree-like creature, hoping to see how it would react to intense levels of pain. Naturally, this caused Specimen E to develop a profound hatred for humanity, prompting it to emit radio waves as a distress signal. Fascinated, the scientists hoped to lure in yet another of its kind by performing even harsher experiments. The one to answer this call for help was what we now call the Alien God. With the apparent goal of rescuing its kin and conquering the planet, the alien god arrived on Earth and annihilated almost all of humanity with a great bleaching. Upon the planet's surface, it planted various fantasy trees, which would in turn link to lost belts on the verge of being pruned from existence. By having these lost belts compete with one another, the alien god fostered an environment suitable for its rebirth as a beast of humanity. At present, the alien god has descended within the body of Olga Marie Animosphere, though this may have been due to a premature awakening at Olympus. Taking on Olga's personality, the alien god, now calling herself You Olga Marie, seeks a stronger vessel to continue her assault on humanity. The last sort of alien I wish to discuss transcends the very concept of an alien. I mean to say that there exist beings that live outside the parallel universes we know of, making them beyond human understanding. These are the outer gods, or evil gods of the abyss. While we try to describe and characterize the outer gods, our attempts ultimately fail to properly grasp just what they are and what they're capable of. We mostly know of their existence through the fictional mythos of author H.P. Lovecraft. I say fictional, but the visions upon which Lovecraft based his stories are actually real, making him the single dreamer of their existence before they began appearing within heroic spirits of the foreigner class. Using artifacts like the Necronomicon, mages such as Francois Prelati and Gilles de Rais have been able to summon these Lovecraftian horrors without a complete understanding of them. Their presence alone can drive humans to insanity, but despite being called outer gods, they possess fleshly mortal bodies that contradict what we normally think of as gods. Nonetheless, humans have found themselves coming into contact with the outer gods, ultimately ascending with them as heroic spirits, or at the very least, hybrid beings similar to pseudo-servants created when gods inhabit mortal vessels. Due to the machinations of the demon god pillar Raum, Abigail Williams was made into a vessel for Soot Typhon, the outer god of the Six Gates, also known as Yog-Sothoth. In this hybrid form, Abigail gains access to gateways to other realms, most notably one associated with the evil tree Cliffoth, which distorts human minds. The famed Japanese painter Katsushika Hokusai once made contact with the outer god Cthulhu through reading a Chinese copy of a Rillier grimoire, thereby influencing his artistic tendency to depict Occupy. His daughter, Katsushika Oi, later became a foreigner-class servant channeling Cthulhu's powers. In addition, we have Yang Guifei, the princess associated with the Tang dynasty's downfall. As a servant, she manifests alongside an outer god believed to be Cthulhu. The evil god of flowers, thought to be Volthoom, created a mixed servant consisting of Vincent van Gogh and the Greek nymph Cletie. This outer god may have been responsible for driving Van Gogh to suicide. Lastly, we have Jacques de Molay of the Knights Templar. Under suspicion of using black magic and heresy, he was burned at the stake, forever tainting his spirit origin. This makes him compatible with the evil god Shub-Niggurath, the Holy Mother of the Abyss. As such, a servant form exists with Jacques fighting as a female vessel for the outer god. In summation, the term alien, as it pertains to mages, can refer to a number of different beings. Some are merely myths and legends given form, while others are ancient races we know little about. The most terrifying are beings beyond our comprehension, wielding tremendous power that threatens our entire species. In all such cases, it is recommended that you approach with extreme caution. You'd best have your fundamentals down before even considering it. Speaking of fundamentals, for our next lesson, we will discuss Kabbalah, the foundation upon which a majority of Magecraft is based. Thanks for watching!
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
celebrate your fandom!
I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters. Video Gamer 75, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Freebrick, Cosmonaut, RNGer Shuffles 1498, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Johnny Tsunami, Link Pendrago, Brandon Baker, Caitlin P, Vladimir Rovna, Succubus Sakura, Normace, Jonathan Padua, and SF Giants fan Mike. Thank you all so much.